What's up and welcome back to Unplayable. We're talking some more Star Wars Unlimited spoilers. David, Jay, we haven't talked about spoilers in a while, I feel like. Is that just me?
No, it's not just you. It's been a while since we've done a spoiler video.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot, but talking spoilers, no. Let's
define playing. You've been losing a lot. That's for sure.
That counts.
That's still playing. He got a couple good wins in there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start off with this first card.
Oh, wow.
Super cool leader. We got Jyn Erso, yellow hero. On her leader side, action, exhaust, attack with a unit. The defender gets -1/-0 for this attack. And if you control 6 or more resources, you can deploy her as a 4/7 with while a friendly unit is attacking, the defender gets -1/-0. What do you guys think about this one?
I haven't used it yet, really.
I haven't either, actually. I haven't played a single game with Jyn.
I've played a few.
It's free. That's a plus, right?
That's nice.
A free ability every round.
It's free. It does require the value to be in that you're attacking units. Like there's no,
Yeah.
It's like if you're heavy on the ground side and they're heavy on the space side. I wish she came out a little bit earlier. Like I wish she came out at 5, not 6.
Mm-hmm.
6 feels a little late, but 7 health is pretty solid on the deployed side. So she sticks to the board and she creates math problems, which to me that's like for me.
So I should play
Jyn
against you.
Yeah,
because you don't want to have to do the math.
Like the whole time you're just like all these like trades you're used to, like it doesn't work anymore, and so it hurts. It does. I don't know. It's Jyn and Han create the 2 worst math problems in the game so far. So it's not my style, but I still like the rebel tags. I think there's a lot you can do with the rebel tag right now.
True.
And there's bound to be more. So
it feels like the kind of leader that they throw into a set that is just there for value, and it's just there to have it because you need more leaders in the set.
I think for draft, I think this is like pretty good pick, right?
Yeah,
because it's something like in draft. I imagine you're going to be making trades on the board back and forth more often than you would be in constructed, because you're not going to, pick up as many like removable cards as you would put in your deck potentially.
Yeah.
So this might have bit more of a chance to shine there. It might be great in constructed too. I haven't really played that much with or against Jyn. I do like that on her unit side, all of your friendly units when they're attacking get that ability. I think that's pretty cool if you can set something up. That's like a bigger thing. I know Leia has the ability that you can attack with multiple units at a time, but if they create a card that lets you attack with multiple units in one action, that could pair with this really, really well.
Yeah, that's good. I also think in this like weird early meta game that we have half the card pool, anything that's out of takedown range is a good card.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Because takedown at 4 kills anything with 5 or less HP. So anything you can like stay out of that range feels pretty solid. So yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it would be much better if it was defensive rather than offensive, where like, when a unit is attacking your unit, it gets -1. But maybe that'd be too good. All right, let's move on to the next card. This one's kind of spicy. It's a 3-cost yellow event, Outmaneuver. Choose an arena, ground or space, and exhaust each unit in that arena.
I mean, that's a lot of control if you have initiative and you can play this. That's pretty nice.
But it also hits your own units.
Yeah. But you're a control deck if you're playing this, right? Like you just want
it could stall for a whole turn, right? If your opponent has only played in one arena and all you want to do is like stall the turn so that you can make it to maybe your leader flip or something.
Or if they come out with like every game has, well, I guess not every game, but games that I've played in the past have this kind of deck archetype that it's just all spells and it's like no creatures on board. This would go in that deck, right? Like this would work perfectly because you're not affecting yourself and you're only affecting your opponent. If we ever get a leader that's like all spells and you don't play that many units, this will be perfect.
Yeah, we'll talk about a ship later that, because we just saw our first instance of like damage out of hand with a capital ship coming later, so maybe we'll come back to this. But I've been playing this a little bit. I have not played it once in any deck that I've put it in. So I don't know if it just sometimes it's like, yeah, maybe you have to hold it for a long time and then there's like a perfect moment, but then that perfect moment passes and you want to attack, but then they attack. And so
maybe could this work in Leia where you're attacking with 2 things and then you could play this right after?
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
I haven't tried it, but it sounds like it could be fun.
Yep. I want to see the hyperspace version of this. The hyperspace version of this card is going to look
probably looks good.
Yeah,
I'll probably play it just
one of
for
my
that.
favorite pieces of art for sure. Yeah. All right, we started talking about the art, so time to move to the next card, Wilderness Fighter. It's a 3-cost blue ground unit, just blue, and it's a 2/4 trooper with shielded. So
it's just your standard.
Not super exciting.
I mean, it's a generic blue, so it could be played on both sides. So typically, it feels like those are a little bit more generic and maybe just almost stat stick. I don't know. It seems fine.
I think this is made for Chewbacca and maybe Grand Inquisitor blue, because
those are the two I was thinking of.
Ping the shield. So I played with it. I've played against it. It hasn't been insanely powerful. I think having only 2 power feels bad at 3. So if there's a way to I'm thinking if there's a way to really stat buff it, I think the general
IG-88 baby.
No. What's Tag? Is he the one? He's the one who buffs all troopers.
The troopers, yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, Krennic if this is damaged.
Which is easier to do with Death Trooper since it stays alive.
Except it's shielded, so I don't know.
You get
that's why I liked him with Grand Inquisitor, because you could ready this thing. You could attack, ready with Grand Inquisitor, throw a lightsaber on him. He's 5'8" now, or 5'7", attacking the second time.
Sick.
Yeah.
So that's what I was messing with, but you can go back and watch our Christmas games to see if it happened.
All right, let's move to the next one. We've got Partisan Insurgent. It is a 2-cost red rebel trooper unit, ground unit. It has 1 attack and 4 health. While you control another red unit, this unit gains raid 2. I love this card. What do you guys think?
Oh, this is the same stat line almost as the last one. It costs less.
Yeah, it costs less and has more attack. Because it's so easy to, the play pattern that you want is you play this on turn 1, then you play a red card on turn 2, and then you attack with this, and it's a 3/4. That's pretty good. Yep. That takes out most other turn 1 plays, I feel like, which is really good.
Yep. I like that they're bringing Saw Gerrera's Partisans in. I think that'll make for some interesting cards, because obviously this is only red. It's not hero or villain, but this is a rebel and trooper tag. Again, I said I liked rebel tags. I think there's just some interesting stuff that's happening with rebel that you like. Obviously, you could drop this. It's not exactly the direction you want to go, but you could drop Wing Leader turn 2 and buff this, but you want another red unit. So I don't know if that's good. It's good. And I'll wait for the other.
Though. He is real ugly.
He is ugly.
He looks like E.T. aged 30 years.
That's a pre-creatine powder J right there.
On that bombshell, we're going to move on to Luke freaking Skywalker.
Okay, legendary.
He is, a 7-cost blue hero unit. He's a 6/7 Force Jedi Rebel. Restore 3. 1 play, give an enemy unit -3/-3 for the phase. If a friendly unit was defeated this phase, give that enemy unit -6/-6 for that phase instead. It's probably my favorite unit in the game so far.
He is him.
He's pretty spicy. He
does everything you want to do. He's got the stats. He's got restore. He can wipe something when he enters play.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
I love and hate this.
Yeah. Have you grown to despise this card?
I do kind of despise it, but I realize I just need to play with it more on my side so that I get some of the positive effects. Yeah. It just, he always just makes a difference on the board. And not only does he make a difference, but he brings that restore 3, which is absolutely insane.
While he's attacking for 6.
Yeah. And you can, if you're running him with Luke leader, if you're running Luke's lightsaber, you can potentially heal him and shield him. You can throw the Jedi lightsaber on, which is also just an amazing
card. That's a crazy good card, yeah.
They nailed this. Legendary theme, core character. We're going to be seeing a lot of this guy. This in my mind, this is the outside of the alternate art stuff in the game right now. I feel like this might be the chase card.
I feel
like
that.
the Western anime style artwork on him.
Same. I think this looks really, really sick. The like wispy sort of stuff going around him. Also, the lightsaber's green, and green's the best color for lightsabers. So
We can agree to disagree. But I did want to ask, comparing him to the other 7 costers, which is Han and Mace,
Mm-hmm.
do you think he's better than both of those?
And Dooku. I don't know
And
if I'm thinking
Dooku,
right? Yeah.
hero.
That's a great question. I think it depends on what your deck wants to do. Because I really like the other ones too. I love playing with Mace. I love playing with Han. I've been playing Han Red. Like that's probably the deck I've played the most, and I love both of those cards in that deck. But I think Luke by himself has a bit more impact, because if you compare him to Han, right? Like Han comes down and hits something for 6 and doesn't take damage back. If you can set this up right, he basically does the same thing,
right?
Where he's but potentially better because you're giving something -6/-6. So if it has a shield, it still dies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is real spicy.
Yeah.
And it has a rebel tag too, which I
and
like,
Force.
Yeah. Some
You
really
can play,
great.
you can play Force Choke in your hero deck, and this guy makes it cheaper.
Totally.
Yeah. For
you can Force
3.
choke some Gamorrean guards.
Yeah.
Just like he did in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. It's interesting you said it when I was comparing him to Dooku. Dooku does something
very similar,
but he comes in shielded, and then he's a 5/4. So there's ways that you can get out a lot of damage with him. But I think in Blue Hero, with how much shielding and restoring they do for what it adds to it's like other card base, I think Luke is the best. But independently, I always love seeing a Dooku. I love seeing a Han, but it doesn't. Yeah. There's not as much like synergy, I guess. But like if you're playing a Blue Hero deck and they're on 7 resources, you're on the Luke turn. Like
you got to think about it.
You have to think like this is happening, and then not only is it going to nuke a unit, but it's going to start restoring damage. So I have to get this. The longer this sits on the field, the worse it gets for me. Yeah, which doesn't feel necessarily that way with the other 7 costers.
This is like such a stabilizer card. Yeah, this can single-handedly swing a game back in your favor. I don't know if this makes it better than Dooku, but it can take out Dooku, and Dooku can't take this out in return. So,
boom,
something worth noting.
There it is.
All right, let's move on to the next one, which we already sort of hinted at. We got Jedi Lightsaber. It's a 3-cost Blue Hero upgrade attached to a non-vehicle unit. If attached unit is a Force unit, it gains on attack. Give the defender -2/-2 for this phase, and it also gives the unit +3/+3.
So good. It's good.
Nice.
So good.
Yeah, this is real nice.
Throwing this on Yoda early makes Yoda feel so powerful compared to what he was doing when he's just hitting for 2. But like having this and the restore 2, and he's got 7 health, and even if you do kill him, you give me a card. I love that. Obviously, throwing on like even just Kanan. I mean, there's so many. We're seeing so many Jedi units now. That's like there's again. It is a little bit interesting because it starts to get into that math territory that we talked about with Jyn. But the difference with this is that it gives the -2 and the -2. So sometimes you just like look at something and it just dies. You just go and it collapses. So
yeah, the -2/-2 is super relevant because it can help you stay out of range of something like takedown as well. Even if you're not just outright killing the thing. If you only take a couple damage in return and you have 7, like 8 health or something, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
But
if you have this on someone that gets the -2/-2 and you're not defeating it, what is happening? That's 5 damage without your base stats.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah. Love this
card. I love this card.
I'm hesitant on equipment in general. I just because of the card advantage, but this game is different because you draw 2. So I don't know. I haven't decided how I feel about it yet.
That is a good point. That in another game, this might be a lot worse because of the way that you acquire cards.
Yeah. Like if that guy gets defeated by like something, you lose so much.
Yeah, you get 2 for 1 basically, and then I
unless you get immediate value on it. Usually.
Are they gonna have redeploy where it just goes to another unit?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right. Next up, we've got Battlefield Marine. It's a very simple unit, a 2-cost green hero 3/3 with Rebel and Trooper.
There's some great tags.
relevant
That's-
tags and great stats. We haven't
That's
seen any
tough.
2-3s yet. I guess Sabine is sort of a 2-3, and A-Wing is sort of a 2-3, but this is a 2-3. So
Yeah.
Yep.
This dropping this round 1 of any game is going to feel really good.
for sure.
It's not very many vanilla cards in this game, and this is one of them, and it's not a bad one.
Yeah, isn't that funny that like this is a vanilla unit, but it's still very playable.
Yeah.
And even just in a recent game, Mike, that you and I played, it's like this turn 1, and then like, okay, then you pass, whatever.
Sure.
You go first, you drop a wing leader.
Yeah.
This is a 5/5.
And then you have a 5/5, yeah.
You have a 5/5 staring at with a 2/1 on the other side. Like that's it's like I think I had to burn a takedown just to take this little thing.
Yeah, the 2 drop exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Next up, we've got Cantina Bouncer. It's a 5-cost double yellow unit. It's a 3/5. When played, you may return a non-leader unit to its owner's hand.
I do like seeing more double aspect cards.
Same.
Yeah, same.
I think the game needs it for you to ever want to go monocolored.
Definitely. Yeah. Deck building is like so much more interesting with cards like this in the pool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like basically a genie, right? Got him.
Yes. Looks like a waylay to me.
No, it's this seems really good. 5 costs, bounce something to your opponent's hand. Yeah, if you have initiative to bounce something big back to their hand before they get to use it, I like it.
Yeah. I mean, other people have said this, but ignore the opportunity cost of having to play double yellow. You're paying 2 for a 3/5 because waylay costs 3, and you're smashing them together in one single card.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty damn good.
Yep. And then if you're running this with Boba, you can, and you're on 5 resources. You play this Boba, on your deploy turn, you get a resource back. You deploy Boba, you attack with Boba, you get 2 resources back. Then you can play waylay as well in your hand.
Yeah.
So you play Cantina Bouncer and
totally
waylay,
wipe
and
somebody's turn.
Yeah, and then your opponent scoops, and you go to game 2. I like this card a lot, and I agree. I've always been attracted to monocolored decks because I think it just screams a lot of theme for me, and so I want more incentives to run monocolor. So I'm a big fan. Hope we see lots more of these.
Definitely are getting that in this card. All right, we've got Avenger. It's a 9-cost blue villain space unit. It's an 8/8 Imperial vehicle capital ship. When played and on attack, an opponent chooses a non-leader unit they control and defeat that unit.
Legendary,
yes.
9 cost.
Yeah, it's expensive.
That's expensive.
It's pretty nice. I mean, Maleficent's 9 cost. She gets played, so I can't see why this doesn't.
You don't get to choose with this one, all right?
But you get to potentially do it multiple times.
Yeah, and if you're paying this much for something, you want something out of it. So at least it has something when you play it.
Yeah. That's what these high cost. This is why the Chimera one that comes in, the yellow capital ship, doesn't feel very playable because it doesn't immediately affect the game unless it has ambush. Whereas like I want to be able, I don't want to have to think, oh, is Piet in the game? Where's my Piet? Like, oh, I can't play this.
Can you imagine giving this ambush?
Oh boy.
You get to
that's
so
kill
good.
Potentially 3 things.
Yeah.
Right.
So good.
That
your opponent chooses 2,
happy.
and then you get to kill something that this attacks into.
Oh, that's good. And it is very expensive, but I think.
Wait a second. Does on attack happen before or after?
Before.
So
can they choose the thing you're attacking?
They could. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could.
Yep.
That's
and
trash.
Then you take no damage.
You take no damage. You got an 8/8.
You just keep doing it again.
Interesting.
Can't take it down then. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. I think, it is expensive, but I think I've been playing a lot of like ramp decks recently. Like I was on the late night gaming and I played some Krennic big vehicle stuff, and this wasn't released
right
yet.
In there.
And it would slide right in and work beautifully. So I'm excited for this. I would, and again, another hyperspace card. I'm like, yes, give me. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I love this artwork with the sort of nebula in the background there. It looks so sick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, we've got Academy Training. It is a green upgrade. It costs 2, and it just gives a unit +2/+2.
What do you think about the artwork on this card, by the way?
I like it.
It's Ezra in the training facility.
Yeah, I like this episode of Rebels, so it's a cool callback.
So what do you think about the card?
All right, so
David.
here's where I'm stuck. So entrenched, it's blue, it costs 2, and then it's +3/+3, but with the stipulation of it can't
only
attack bases.
Units, yeah.
Mhm.
So like why in my mind am I like I would throw entrenched in any blue deck, but green, like you'd have to really convince me to run this. Is it just because entrenched can work defensively and we can throw that on something and neuter it?
I think so.
Because I'm like
it's so
I'm like,
flexible because of that, right?
yeah.
Like you can use entrenched either to sort of lock down an arena that you're not playing in, or push your own units into your opponent's units and get value that way. I think this is really only valuable on your own units, and only the question really is, what's a scenario where you'd rather play this than just another 2-cost unit? Are there any?
Sentinel, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, the value here is the same as Tarkin, right? So like Tarkin is 1 for 1 experience. This is 2 for 2 experience. But this is just worse.
But you're spending a card from your hand.
You're spending a card from hand. 2, targeted upgrade removal removes +2 instead of removing just +1.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think this card's kind of trash.
If this literally cost 2 and said give 2 experience tokens to a unit, it would be better.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
That's interesting. Oh, wow, that is super interesting. But yeah, I think the value, I just think it, again, stuff like takedown at 5. You got Dooku coming in, nuking stuff at 4 or less. We've got even open fire hitting for 4 damage. Like, I don't know, just getting your stuff out of range. Like I was thinking about IG-88 and how terrible IG-88 is.
Yeah.
And I literally sat there. I was like, what card would actually make IG-88 okay? And I still haven't answered that. So if you have the answer, I'm all ears. But because it literally just dies to a 3-cost common card that if you're against red, it's just it,
just
know. And so whereas like Iden Versio, at least you got coming in with shielding or shielded. So I don't know. I don't love this. I think this is great for draft limited stuff. That's fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine for draft. One thing I do want to call out is just the fact that it has like the learned trait, and that obviously doesn't matter now, but imagine a world in the future where a unit comes out that's like, it costs 1 less to play, learned upgrades on this unit or something.
Oh, like a Bendu leader?
That'd be cool.
Like he's like, cool.
Something
he's just like teaching all his little people.
Yeah. A Bendu battlefield.
Okay.
It comes with a die, maybe.
Wait, keep going.
Yeah, tell me more. Oh man. All right, I'll move on to the next one. We've got Ruthless Raider. It's a 6-cost red villain space unit. It's a 4/6 Imperial vehicle capital ship. When played and when defeated, deal 2 damage to an enemy base and 2 damage to an enemy unit. This card does a lot.
I love this.
Does a lot.
I love it. Our first, like I said, it's our first instance of damage out of hand to the base, right? Like outside of, I don't know, ambushing in a ATSD with overwhelm or something. I don't know. I don't even know what that would be, but to be able to just say like, okay, like if you get within a couple damage, like, and I'm at 6 resources, I really like this. And then if you don't deal with it, then all right, I'm just getting 4 damage off. I guess that's when you play entrenched and you're like, now it never dies. But big fan.
Yeah, I think this is super cool. It makes your opponent really have to think if they're on only 2 or 4 health left against red villain.
And the fact that this kid just like snipe something out of the ground arena too.
I think it's better than Home 1.
Yeah, probably.
It's the same cost. It's got 2 more health.
No, not same cost. Cheaper. Home 1's 8.
Oh, sorry. I meant black one.
Black one. No, definitely better than black one. Yeah. Obviously a different kind of deck, but yeah, I do think this is just better. Yeah. I do think this is just better for sure.
I don't know how I feel about this card. I think it's fine. Like if you get them down to 2, then sure, it's good. But
I think the more relevant part is probably the 2 damage to an enemy unit when it enters play and when it dies, because you can set up some like tempo plays where you get to play this, your opponent's thing dies, and now they have to deal with a 4/6.
Or you get them down into Dooku range at 7, you drop Dooku.
Or
that's
take
cool
down
too.
or whatever.
Or
yeah.
But that would be the next turn.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Seems fine.
Yeah,
I'm really questioning how much play this actually sees.
Oh man, okay. I think you're crazy. I think this goes in most red villain decks.
I think I'm in the middle of you guys. I think some decks will want this and some decks won't. It's a very mid-rangey card. So I think it depends on if a deck like exists that would want something like this that is red. What are the best red villain decks right now? I guess it'd be Vader with like green.
No, it'd be
Vader with green. This seems fine in.
It would be Boba red right now. I think would be.
This would probably be fine in that.
Yeah.
I guess it's competing with. I mean, I'd rather play Slave One over this. I mean, Fet's Fire Spray.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
Yeah, like, do you play?
That's fair.
That many 6-cost ships in that deck? If you do, I could see this being decent. But I don't know. All right, we're moving on to red 3.
Okay, now talk about a vehicle.
It's a 3-cost red hero unit in space. It's a 2/3 rebel vehicle fighter with raid 1, and each other friendly hero unit gains raid 1.
Gas.
Good
This
card.
card is so sweet.
It is a good card.
Yeah, every hero unit.
Yeah,
like that alone just makes it spicy. I've seen a lot of like hate or disappointment in this card, and I just think that's insane. I think red 3 makes red hero decks.
I mean, what red hero deck doesn't want this?
Right. Yeah,
what I like
give this
about
to
it is
Sabine.
you can get immediate value out of it. So like say you're setting up like you're playing Sabine in the first 2 to 3 turns, you're playing 1 and then 2 units.
You're playing A-Wing and then you're playing this.
So like you're up to 5 units.
Or
you play this.
You play your Partisan Insurgent turn 1 and then red 3 here. So that Partisan
Insurgent's not a hero.
Oh, it's not. You're right. So yeah, it would be like a Sabine unit. Or
you play like 2 SpecForce Soldiers, which we'll get to in a minute. And then you play this, and then they each attack for 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Even that Battlefield Marine swinging for 4, you know?
Yeah. That's big.
Yeah. I think this is a very
I feel like
good
this
card.
is the kind of card that they have to have an answer to quickly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to get out of hand.
Yeah, for sure. If this sticks on the board for more than a turn or 2, you're hurting.
Yeah. And then you get you can't have 2 out.
There are some good answers to this already that exist, right? There's Ozatuk,
for sure.
which is, it costs 4 and can kill this and survive. There's the Interceptor that can do the same thing. So
that's probably the worst.
It does have some counterplay, but if this sticks, it's very scary for your opponent.
Yep.
But maybe that's where the power lies, right? It's a 3-cost unit that is like a must answer threat.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, we'll move on to Scout Bike Pursuer. It's a 2-cost blue villain ground unit. It's a 1/4 with grit. It's an Imperial and a Trooper. Jay, why do you love this card?
Favorite card.
Tell us, Jay.
No, I'm just kidding. It seems good. Like you play this as a Grand Inquisitor, you can hit him. I guess you can't hit him twice because then he dies. But I mean, Grand Inquisitor turns this guy into what?
A 3/4
or a 3/2 on the second hit. Yeah. This guy's
it's like a ready 3/2 on turn 1 is pretty good, right?
Then you give him a buff like entrenched
resilience or something. Yeah.
Resilience. Yeah.
I mean, it's Imperial, so Veers comes in, right after this.
So I
you
was
play Death Trooper, hit this guy, hit someone else, and then attack.
That's a good follow up to this.
Plus, if you have Director Krennic out, then it's like another +1.
I like it. I was thinking about this with Grand Inquisitor, and if you're on turn 5, so you have 6 resources available, you can play this, use Grand Inquisitor's ability, hit your opponent for 3, flip Grand Inquisitor, attack with Grand Inquisitor for 3, and then deal 1 damage to this and ready it again, and then hit for another 4. So you're hitting for a total of 10 damage with just Grand Inquisitor and this out of hand.
And 2 resources.
On turn 5.
You still have 4 resources left.
Yeah, you still have 4
scenario.
left. So you can do some pretty explosive plays with this, which is pretty spooky.
Wish I would have had this available in our Grand Inquisitor video, Mike. I love grit too. Obviously, like I'm a
later.
I'm a big Chewbacca leader fan, even though I don't think he's amazing, but that's why I love him. So I think grit creates some problems.
Yeah, it's another thing that your opponent has to think about and consider, and it can get out of hand real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Next card, we've got a leader. We've got Iden Versio.
Let's go.
She is, I guess she's a blue villain leader with action, exhaust. If an enemy unit was defeated this phase, heal 1 damage from your base. And when you flip her at 6 resources, she's a 4/4 shielded. And when an enemy unit is defeated, heal 1 damage from your base. So you don't have to exhaust her on her unit side. Just whenever an enemy unit is defeated, you get to heal 1 from your base.
Nice.
All right. I've seen I've seen people saying Iden
Are
is
people
the
hating on this?
worst revealed leader so far.
I mean, she's a 4/4 for 6
With Shielded. Shielded's good. But she does die to takedown.
takedown.
So that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Or Dooku? Or is Dooku
Yeah,
not
Dooku
leader?
hits it. Yeah, Dooku.
Yep.
No, it's anybody. Yeah.
Dooku hits us.
That's a big
But she
rip
comes out
right
before
there, huh?
Dooku.
She does.
Yeah, unless they're playing green and they have a super laser tag.
Yeah, and then you're sad.
This is where
But
the
you
Academy
also played
training
green,
is
and
going to come
you
on.
got this out early too.
There it is.
I feel like
So
I don't know.
Why is this a good character? Why did they stat her out 4/4 out of 6?
I think Shielded is really good if your opponent doesn't
Mhm.
have like those specific answers that are really only in blue.
Yeah.
I guess red has some answers with Saboteur, right?
Which, yeah, that's a good point. Like takedown, like obviously, like open fire. So again, IG-88 dies to open fire.
She at least doesn't die to that.
Yes.
I feel like you have to be smart though and flip her when you're going to get a ton of value out of that second ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm imagining if I'm playing it with a red, right? Do I wait until turn 8 to flip this or turn 7? So I flip this and then play Emperor Palpatine and like kill 3 things and then heal 3. I don't know. I think you have to be really smart about when you do this because that ability seems like it could be a big swing if you can gain a bunch of health back on your base when you flip this. And you're gaining health every turn.
For it to be like a really, really good swing.
Probably 3 or 4. But okay, turn 1, you're probably not defeating an enemy unit in most games, right? But from turn 2 until turn 5 when this comes out, so that's 4 turns that you get to use her ability potentially. So you're gaining an additional 4 health, hopefully, by the time she comes out. And then if you flip her, gain another like 2 or 3 or 4, that could be pretty good. But I mean, if you're getting rid of your opponent's units every turn as well, I don't know. I kind of like it. It's very control-y.
It's got to be a control.
Wants you to go late game,
right?
Yeah,
for sure.
That's really the value in it, right? Like the value is entirely in letting you extend the game. So her value will be dependent on what you can do once you have done that.
Do you go heal strategy and try to play as many heal cards? Villain doesn't have that many heal cards. Or do you just go try to control their board?
You have there's one repair is a heal card, so you can heal 3 to your base for 1. I don't know if that's like I rarely ever see people play that. I don't know if you play that here either. I don't know. I feel like you just play a bunch of cards that like control the board, and then you sort of get incremental advantage as you're healing, and eventually you just can outlast their early game, and you have better late game cards, and that's just the strategy, right?
Got an Avenger and you know all that stuff.
Yeah, Avenger, Dooku, Overwhelming Barrage is really insane with this, right? Like you flip this and you play Overwhelming Barrage and you deal 6 spread how you want, hopefully kill a bunch of things. And then
so the problem is like if you're playing against blue, you don't want to flip her until you know they don't have enough money to play takedown.
Probably.
So you have to wait, then flip, then play Overwhelming Barrage. Yeah,
you do. But if your game plan is to remove everything that they play up until that point anyway,
then you're fine.
Maybe you're okay. I don't know.
Maybe you don't take initiative if you can avoid it for that turn.
Yeah, I think she seems like a pretty skill testing leader in general in terms of like how you maximize her value.
Yeah.
So I'm curious and excited to see what people do with this leader.
All right.
We've mentioned this card a second ago. This is SpecForce Soldier. It's a 1-cost red hero ground unit. It's a 2/2 rebel trooper. When played, a unit loses Sentinel for this phase.
Chewbacca who?
Yeah.
more like Obi who.
Chewbacca?
Okay. Wow.
Got him.
Obi who Kenobi? This guy's a jerk. This guy's a little jerk, and I love him.
It's pretty good.
He's got a mean mug, don't he?
He does.
What's not to love? Yeah.
He is ready to go.
Like a 1-cost 2/2 is pretty good already, I feel like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you're getting to get around Sentinel for a whole phase. That's pretty cool.
This could almost be an event. And I think that like Sabine aggro would still play it for 1. But you're also getting a 2/2 out of it.
Is really seems good in Sabine aggro. Yeah.
Sabine loves this card.
You get 2 of these out turn 1. You get a red 3 out turn 2. You get Sabine out turn 3 and bunch of other stuff.
You could do the red 3 thing, and then you could play Metal Ceremony. Give them all experience tokens for free too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even want to have to play this turn 1 though. Like you can play this turn 5 where they have a Sentinel out to close the game.
That's what I love about this card is that it can be super relevant late game as well as early game.
Yeah. When you're playing against like Luke Ramp and Obi-Wan hits the table, and then you've got this big old Sentinel, and not only Sentinel, but Luke's out there. So if you kill him, then Luke becomes even more powerful than you would imagine.
Yeah. You can just ignore him entirely.
All right. Yeah. Like it's like, oh gosh, if you're not playing like Waylay or something, it's sort of like this inevitable, like, I don't want to kill him, but I have to kill him, and I don't know what's right. And so, yeah.
It's one of those things that it's like going into turn 6, your opponent's like, all right, I survived here. I'm good if I can just outlast the Sabine onslaught. And then they play like a big Sentinel, and then you just play this and you're like, you're dead anyway.
Yep.
Totally.
It's so good.
All right. Let's move on to the next card. We've got 2 more left. We've got Precision Fire. It's a 1-cost red event. Attack with a unit. It gains Saboteur for this attack. If it's a trooper, it also gets +2/+0 for this attack.
Yeah. So
like another good Sabine card.
So, Mike, do you want to tell this story, or do I tell? This is feels.
Oh no, you go right ahead.
Okay, yeah. So we played a game. This was supposed to be recorded, but technology.
Someone had too many videos on their hard drive.
Someone's OBS crashed. We won't talk about who that was. But all right, so Mike's playing Leia Red Aggro Rush, and he's just like whittling me down. Like I'm playing, I think, Luke at the time, and I finally get to that turn where it's like, okay, so he starts with Leia and he activates 2 rebel units that hit a bunch. He's got 1 more unit for the kill, but I'm like, it's okay. I've got Obi. I drop Obi-Wan. I'm like, I can catch my breath.
Safe.
And get Luke out. I can stabilize. And literally his next play is Precision Fire. He attacks with that Partisan Insurgent for like 5 or 7 and wins the game. And I'm just literally like,
it was 5. Yeah.
I'm like, it's like 6. It's like turn 5. So I'm like, oh, yeah, good game. It was spoiled that morning. I was just like, oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That seems all right.
Yeah, it worked out.
Remember with that SpecForce Soldier we just talked about? I said if it was a unit, Sabine would probably still play it. Well, here it is, literally.
This is the event.
Was an event. Yeah, that's what I meant. If it was an event, she'd still play it. Yeah, I mean, this is perfect.
I like this card. Yeah, it's really cool. I think sometimes it's still worth it, even if you're not using a trooper with it. But it's even better if you are. And yeah, just pushing crazy. 2 damage for 1 resource feels pretty good.
Bare minimum, I think you are sideboarding this, like for those
Probably.
Like shieldy,
yeah, for the shield /
matchups,
Sentinel heavy matchups. Yeah,
it's so good against shields, insanely good.
Yeah, is Saboteur being able to defeat all of the shields is so strong, so good. All right, we've got 1 card left that was revealed just this morning. It is Attack Pattern Delta. It's a 3-cost double green event. Give a friendly unit +3/+3 for this phase. Give another friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase, and give a third friendly unit +1/+1 for this phase. What do you guys think?
If you got to attack with all of them, that'd be sweet. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I think about this. I think
it is a little slow, huh? Because they have to survive after you do this.
Yeah, I feel like this is overwhelming barrage insurance. like where, I don't know, you just go to these turns, you're like, okay, if you have overwhelming barrage, my board is gone, versus like I pay 3 for this and maybe I get some guys out of range. They still die at the end of the turn, I guess, but I don't know. I think like I said, I like them incentivizing running like mono colors. So
sure, being
able to push this, you could definitely go super aggro, even if you're just play like the Battlefield Marine, play a couple of those or that SpecForce Soldier, and all of a sudden you're on turn 3 or 4. They're still building a board, or maybe they resupplied or something because they're trying to ramp, and all of a sudden you're threatening 10, 12 damage.
Yeah, this is maybe not that bad. Even playing it for 5, it's like getting a 6/6 on the board that you can use immediately. It's just what's your game plan if you push that 6 damage to your opponent's base does that mean that you're going to win? Or do you need this to make some trades that you wouldn't otherwise be able to make for the turn? I think this so far is like maybe one of the less, I don't know if good is the right way to put it, but like less obvious of the double aspect cards. I think Cantina Bouncer is like super easy to see like why it's valuable. I think this requires setup and it requires the right situation for it to be really good.
If you have a board full of Sentinels, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know. But I want to run some mono green heroes, so let's do it.
It's not as cool as a Cantina Bouncer.
Cantina Bouncer is real cool.
But it is only 3, which is not that expensive.
3 is pretty cheap.
If this is like late game, but I don't know.
Imagine 2 of these. Imagine you're on turn 5 and you get to play 2 of these.
Boom, boom. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
That's probably game.
You just have to keep the units on the board. I feel like most of my games
Yeah, it's hard to keep
have
units on the board in this game.
That like 3 units just chilling and doing something of value.
It's the back and forth nature of the game.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just playing like cheap stuff with a lot of health. So I'm thinking, like Piet, who's like a 1/4 for 2, or even Tarkin is like is he a 2/5?
2/3.
Oh,
he's a 2/3.
Really?
Yeah,
he's worse than I thought he was. Never mind.
The unit the one that searches the top 5 and pulls out. Yeah, he's a 2/3.
Okay. Well, I don't really play green villain that much, so that's why I don't know. But if there was a 2-cost 2/5 or a 3-cost 2/5, even, it's like I don't know. It is probably better in decks where you're playing cards that have higher health than attack, and then it lets you sort of get over the top of your opponent in some ways.
It's funny because the +3 health almost feels irrelevant since it goes away at the end of the round. Yeah,
it's a really interesting element of this game because there are a lot of green cards that do that.
Yeah, it's not irrelevant because now your opponent isn't incentivized to attack into him after you give him the attack buff. But it feels like it doesn't matter.
For sure. Like it can allow it to survive for specifically that round.
Yeah.
And if you can make use of them during that round, then it feels good. But it just seems really situational, like to give something health during the middle.
I'm just thinking of like, again, I already mentioned Overwhelming Barrage, but we like a lot of people are playing like Bosk, and knowing Bosk is coming at 5, to be out of that range of like that 4 ambush, and if you have extra health and extra damage, you could kill Bosk or the Callous ambush.
True.
Again, the takedowns, the open fire, like all the kind of unit control. If you just kind of bump yourself out of that range. It definitely could create problems. The more I talk about this, the more I like it, honestly. And I don't think I like paying 5 for it.
I mean, it's probably a bad card.
I'm
just kidding.
But I was thinking, like, I don't know. I think it's interesting. Even like the Tarkin green stuff, if you can pass a bunch of experience, keep them on and drop this.
That's pretty interesting because Tarkin is probably the leader that is best at keeping units on the board because you get to buff them every turn.
Yeah.
So that's a cool spot for this potentially.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that is all of the spoilers that we have for today that we're going to talk about. So hope you guys enjoyed that. And we'll see you guys on the next one.